Hello and happy Thursday. Welcome to Creative Chaos. I've got a good one for you this week. I actually have a Flip City contributor, a kind of a new contributor that I've known actually, I think, for a couple of years. So I'm excited for that conversation. Welcome again to Creative Chaos, a show that is created to spotlight independent people that are fascinating and creating fantastic things outside the mainstream. I'd like to thank Atomic Annie for being our opening house band tonight. They're self-described as instrumental space grunge, and they perform live every Thursday at 9 CST 10. What's that? EST. I didn't write EST, so I had to think about that for 1 second. So when you're done here at Creative Chaos, go check out Atomic Annie Live, and I have links in the description to where you can find them. And of course, Creative Chaos is supported by the best, most awesome print comic satire magazine, I think, to ever have existed. And some people would agree with me. And I've got a couple of updates for you about Flip City. First, the shipment of volume 20, what I just showed right now, went out last week, and we've received word from a few subscribers that they've been received. And we're going to take a look at, we have a couple of people that interact with us online. So we've got Steve, and over on Twitter, he said, everyone should check out Flip City Mag. And I agree. And you can do so by going to flipcitymag.com and subscribing, or even buying past issues. And then over on Pilled Foxhole, we have Classical Chick checking in with her physical copy, saying, I got my next issue of Flip City. How nice that the present day DJT circumstances to have something more to make me smile. We love you, and we love you back, Classical Chick. If you happen to be out there listening right now over on the Foxhole, we really appreciate that you subscribed. All right, so that happened. And then second, we have a crowdfunding campaign over on Fund My Comic exclusively. So somebody that likes to laugh, one person that likes to laugh, has supported the campaign so far. You can see we are $30 in. Thank you so much to that one person that went over to Fund My Comic and backed the campaign. And you might say, hey, Flip City, why are you crowdfunding? You're obviously quite successful. Well, honestly, it's because we need the funds to print volume 21, which is actually ready to go to the printer right now. And it's not easy independently publishing a physical magazine that consistently holds no punchlines when punching tyrants and their woke minions straight in the nuts. And I am not too proud to say we need your support. We have several awards for backers that are not available on our store, like this Ketchup 3-pack, which includes volume 21. So you can support our campaign by going to Fund My Comic, Flip City 21, and we guarantee it's going to make you laugh. And we are not the only ones that are saying it. So, next, I have a few smart people appreciating the work.
Flip City is honestly funny. I mean, it's much funnier than Mad Magazine or Cracked because there's a bite to the humor. It's not all, those cartoons are great, but some of the articles I read have been a real stitch. They're intellectual. They appeal to discerning people. It's not sarcasm, it's satire. And I urge you to subscribe to Flip City.
Flip City Magazine is just really pulling out all the stops, man. Your guys' production value of this magazine has gone insane. I mean, look at that. I mean, I remember when you guys, it was black and white. Even when it was black and white, I thought your quality was great. But damn, they just really stepping it up a notch. Look at this. James Corbett, boys. James Corbett.
I love Flip City. It has brought new types of badassery and integrity to the print medium. I hope everybody goes out and supports you guys and is part of the fun.
several copies of different issues of their magazine to me, and I've been perusing them recently. As I say, genuinely satirical, genuinely cutting, but also funny, and obviously just chaotic and very fun. For example, Flip City issue 7 features McCommunism, over 100 million starved, extreme Karening, and sexy Fauci centerfold, and it delivers on everything it promises, including, well, I don't know about the sexy part, but there's the Fauci centerfold.
All right, so go check us out on Fund My Comics. Something that just makes my heart swell is the wide spectrum of people who have given us rave reviews. We've got an industry guy that's been working with the big two for, gosh, I think maybe 3 or 4 decades, as well as publishing his own stuff independently and being quite successful in it. We've got the Salty Cracker, who has his awesome Salty Army, who happen to be our best and most loyal subscribers, James Corbett, and of course, a wonderful broadcaster there, quite frankly. So thank you guys for saying things really nice about Flip City. I'd hope that would sell some magazines as well. At this point, I would like to bring in my sidekick, Batman, which we have only for a short time today. Hi, Batman. Are you muted? I see you. I see you, sir, but I cannot hear you.
How about now?
Now I can.
Okay. I have a mute button on my phone for Zoom, and I have a mute button on my earbud. And if I have the earbud muted, then you don't hear me, even though I unmute the microphone on the Zoom.
I know. You've explained it a couple of times. So yeah, I'm always expecting to tell you to unmute.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And right now I'm on my way to the airport to pick up a friend who called me last friggin' minute and like monkey wrenched my entire weekend. But I got to do what I got to do, you know?
You know, you are a very good friend. And I specifically wanted to bring you in to tell you what a great friend you are.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And
then for those of you who don't know, I have a podcast of my own called 3 Beermen with our producer here, Cosmic Grandpa, and then 2 other gentlemen, Hangton Alien Surfer and the Hawk. Squawk out to the Hawk. But I digress. We're here tonight for Creative Chaos, and I understand we have a very unique and interesting guest this evening who you've worked with before.
yes, we do. And we'll be seeing some of his work at the end of the show during the Flip City branded segment, which I'm sorry you're going to miss. But if you're interested, you can go back and watch the replay later. Batman, is it important for people to share this stream? And
it is very important for people to like and share the stream. And if you're on foxhole.app, click the thumbs up. That's pilled.net or foxhole.app. Click the thumbs up or the red pill on our stream so that people will find us, because it will help the algorithms with our propagation, as well as, are we on Rumble? Are you on Rumble?
We are on Rumble. Nobody's checked in over there, but that's the lurking spot.
Gotcha. So lurkers, do me a favor, do Christy a favor, hit that thumbs up button, because it also helps the algorithms over there. I don't care if you don't hit the chats. If you lurk and you like the show, hit the thumbs up, because we require that in order to get the algorithms moving forward for other people to notice our stream.
Okay. You know,
Are we?
Batman, I just realized that you are much better at pitching the like share thing. So I think that's your new job here on out.
Okay, you got it. Will do.
Okay, cool. And I just wanted to check in over on YouTube and say what is up to our every week viewer, George Washington X. And I see Justin over at Belmont Press popped in to say yo. So, hey guys. And
Justin. Oh, sorry.
yeah. Oh, which by the way, hey Justin, if you were still out there, check your Twitter DMs because we're having a party next week and I want you to come. So check your Twitter DMs. Let me know if you're going to be able to be there. It's going to be an awesome stream next week. We're going to FAFO. We're going to FAFO Batman the entire stream.
I can't wait. And I just have to say something, Justin Belmont, if you are listening, Mr. Belmont, I want to thank you. Not only did I get my artwork from you for your campaign, not only did I get my comic books, Weaponized Werewolf and Smokes the Fox, but I just received my Smokes the Fox miniature red figurine with the glow-in-the-dark dice, and I'll be sending those images to you probably tomorrow, Christy, because I'm racing to get to an airport.
Okay, awesome. Are you popping out right now?
I'm sorry?
Are you popping out right now?
Not
Leaving?
yet. I'm
Okay.
gonna hang in there for a little bit, but I'm gonna mute so you can go into introducing our newest guest.
All right, sounds great. Yep, pop back in anytime you want, Batman. If we do not talk to you before you have to hang up, we'll see you. We'll see you when we see you. All right, so my guest is a very mysterious character that has contributed to Flip City. And when I asked him to send me a biography, he said he thinks better on paper, and he sent this over. So here's what he has to say for himself. Oh, sorry, I'm not scrolling here. Everybody bear with me, please. I know you can't see me. So yeah, he sent me over an actual handwritten bio. Who does that anymore? And says, "Hey, I'm Ulysses XYZ. I'm a digital nomad, adventurer, and artist. Drawing in class, graffiti, and street art. How I spent. Oh, I'm sorry. Oops, scrolling too much. My bad. Drawing in class, graffiti, and street art. Devoured picture books. Saved me. How I spent the season of Koof in 2021. I got a one-way ticket to Mexico. I drifted in life for a long time. I lived my life according to others' blueprints. I kept wearing I am so sorry, you guys. My glasses aren't working very good. I need to increase this. Let's see. Apologies. And apologies, Ulysses, that I'm butchering your bio. I kept hearing how my doodling would go nowhere. I should change careers, do this, do that. And then the lockdowns kick off. That's it, the last straw. I'm getting a one-way ticket to Mexico, joined the Agora, started using crypto. Girl with gun invites me to her village, Sharan. How can I say no? Women with weapons is my turn on. Now I travel and draw. I'm interested in exploring ideas of liberty, individualism, anarchy, independence movements, and shit posting the NWO. And I am totally on board with that, brother. Let's bring in Ulysses XYZ. Hello.
Hey there.
I decided to mask up.
Oh, cool.
You
Yeah,
wanna
I
mask
mean,
up?
it's really important we all wear our masks in these trying times. So
And I
made sure I got one
apologize
where
for
it
that
had lots
butcher.
of like ability to breathe air.
Yeah. And so you said that you bought a one-way ticket to Mexico when Koof kicked off. Now, how long did that take you to get into Mexico, and how long did you stay? Are you still there?
Well, at the time I was working on vessels offshore, and things lined up so that I was done with my job in January. So basically January of 21, I was just like, hey, all these, conferences and because I also would sell art at comic book conventions, and they're all, being shut and delayed. And then there's oddly enough, a group of anarchists going to meet in Mexico, in Acapulco. So I'm like, that's where I want to go. So that's how it started.
So you went down for Anarchapulco?
Yeah, Anarchapulco.
Very nice. Now, that's something that I've been on the fence whether I want to go down or not. And I'm sure you have seen the hit piece HBO did about
Oh,
Anarchapulco.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, it was quite clear that it was edited to make anarchy look as insane as possible.
Well, they did like a bait and switch because like the first episode is just like, oh, here's some actual like little tidbits about like anarchy. What is it? Blah blah blah. And then it kind of goes into the human drama portion of it as opposed to focusing on like what does anarchy actually mean? And it's not black bloc bullshit. It's planting a garden.
Yeah,
Things
no,
like
absolutely. It absolutely is. And I swear, anarchists or voluntarists, which I feel like is maybe the like rebranding of anarchy. Would you say that's the case? Like just kind of calling it a different thing because it's not as the
yeah,
scary anarchy word.
anarchy is a very scary word, and it's very like it's got like a this attachment to like leftist ideas from like the early 19th century that are just kind of like, well, I mean, it's all kind of the root of anarchy. But yeah, I think voluntarism, agorism, that's a term that I like because that's more about like what can you as an individual do in response to like what you perceive as being wrong, like these massive systems that are just fucking evil. What are you going to do as an individual? Well, anarchy. Anarchy is the solution. Agorism is the solution. It's just like, you know what? I can't be bothered with all that stuff. Like, I want to sell my eggs for, meat for crypto or, exchanges for design and stuff like that. And I think that attitude, if that grows, that's the anarchy that I'm interested in.
Right. And it's not like a subject that I follow too closely, but uh, done good for us have just been the nicest people.
Ulysses XYZ mentions anarchy, and I have to say that it's pretty interesting to see how the anarchists 5 years ago have now flipped and they've become the quote unquote rulers, and we have become the anarchists now. Would you say?
Like, how would you define like the anarchists from 5 years ago? Like, I didn't quite get that.
Well, the anarchists were those, the Antifa assholes and all those people who are paid to create anarchy and to become subversive and try and thwart the authority. And the authority at that time, 5, 6, 7 years ago, was Donald J. Trump. And now we have become the anarchists because we can't stand the current administration and how he's been destroying our country. And so we now have to fight back. And I just find that we can do it in the best way possible, passively, like you do through your art, and how Christy does through her magazine, and how me and Cosmic do it through, Three Beermen, our podcast. We don't talk about politics. We talk about pop culture, beer, and technology. And we try not to get involved in the politics of it all. But when push comes to shove, if the proverbial shit hits the fan, you can guarantee that we'll be rising up and we will become the anarchists that Joe Biden so claims that we already are.
Well, and I mean, yeah, it's kind of tricky. And I think that's why people are kind of adopting the idea of like agorism and voluntarism is kind of like standing for those principles of like abiding by the NAP, like the yin yang, where it's just like, do no harm, take no shit. Well, take no shit will often involve self-defense, and it's just like,
Well, it's like
You know,
the walk softly but carry a big stick type principle, right?
yeah, I think so. Yeah. And I mean, it makes sense. It's like, look, most people, and again, it's like, you say anarchy and you give the example of like BLM and like Antifa, like that's not anarchy. That's just, that's the brown shirts for this, for this time and space. That's like the goon squad. That's not anarchy. Anarchy will end up, being people that are like, oh, we got our own little neighborhood over here. We're good. Like we're growing our own stuff. We got our own people. We can take care of ourselves. Like, don't bother us. Like that is, and I think that's probably an easier thing to sell or, kind of share as agorism or voluntarism.
So you mean like what Texas has been trying to do?
I love Texas. I love Texas.
No, so do I. But I'm just saying, like, they've been trying to secede from the United States for I can't even tell you how many centuries now. But yeah, it's been interesting listening to the Texas regiment, so to speak, and how they've been trying to break away from what's been going on in the United States as a whole. So
Yeah. Well, and again, I think that's interesting because, listening to the guy talk, I think his name's Dennis Miller. He's like, perfectly bilingual, which I think is important. Like, Texas, that's part of being Texan, is Spanish and English bilingual. And the way he was kind of framing it is like, Brexit is the most kind of recent example of a state saying like, we don't want to be part of a union anymore. And like, it took, I forget how many years for that to happen, but it happened peacefully. It happened without, need for like Civil War II or anything like that. So I think that was like, that I think is the best way to present the idea of Texit, where it's just like, look, a lot of Texans are just frustrated and they're like, look, obviously, DC has got its own agenda that doesn't have anything to do with, us being an individual state and standing up for ourselves and defending borders or, deciding policies that Texans want.
Just kind of on that same topic, when you just kind of reflect on how overbearing the federal government is and, there's basically no state rights anymore and all that BS, do you feel that there is like any saving America, like a constitutional republic, or that should burn to the ground and then we all live in anarchy? I mean, what do you think would be better?
Oof. I think, and this is kind of why I really like this village that I ended up finding in Mexico, this town of Cheran, because they've kind of gone through that question of just like, what does it mean for a town, for instance, to stand up for itself? So, I mean, it's a town in the state of Michoacan, Mexico, up in the mountains. This is where all the avocados come from. And there's lots of like organized crime issues when it comes to these avocados, right? It's not really about like drugs and weapons. It's about like who owns the land to grow avocados. And, they'll say like plato o plomo, you're either going to take this small amount of money, token amount of money for your land, or terrible things will happen to your family. And then most people are just like, okay, fine. Yeah, here you go. Here's my land. And grow more avocados, cut down the forest, and then just start monoculture for avocados. So that's kind of the setting. And this town of Cheran was having issues with cartel. Cartel were coming in, they were lumbering, cutting down their trees, bullying the people, flashing guns. It got violent. People were kidnapped, and the cops in the town weren't doing anything. They were just kind of like, well, what are you going to do? Haha, they're the cartel.
Right.
Same thing with the town's politicians. They weren't doing anything. And then I think it was after an incident where somebody was kidnapped and beaten up or something like that. It was the town grandmothers that were kind of fed up with this thing. And then next time they saw, a logging truck come in, they just started like chucking rocks and be like, ooh, get out of here, shoo, go away. And, then they get out their guns and they're like, oh, what are you going to do, little woman? And then like the rest of the town starts doing that. And then it turns into a full-blown uprising where they eventually block off all roads into their town. They form their own militia and go on patrol around in the woods and the mountains nearby the town to make sure they weren't being infiltrated by cartel. And they kicked out their politicians, they kicked out their cops, and they're like, we're going to take care of ourselves now. And I think one of the key things for this story and like the success of that actual movement was the fact that they laid claim to being an indigenous people. So the tribes in that area was called the Pudapecha. And so they were like, we're Pudapecha, we're indigenous, we have our own usos y costumbres, our traditions or uses and customs. We'll take care of ourselves. And they kind of came to an agreement with the Mexican federal government. They're like, okay, yeah, sure, take care of yourselves, and we'll ask for permission if federal or state troops go through your town. But yeah, we're not going to collect votes from you. We're not going to advertise for political parties in your town. And so yeah, it's a very fascinating story, and I think kind of important because again, this has happened. It happened 13 years ago now, I think.
And they're still living pretty independently and successfully,
still
and the
doing their
cartel
own
hasn't
thing.
come back.
I mean, there's been hints and issues of it because that always happens because the surrounding areas do not have the same situation. They're still a small little town. They still have kind of like corrupt cops, and they still have issues with cartel. But in Chiran, no. But it's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah,
so
that's a really fascinating story.
Yeah, Chiran's it's a fascinating town with a very interesting story. Actually, there's this great music video. I'll send you the link, and maybe you can post it up in like show notes or something like that. But yeah, it's a great music video about kind of like this story of this town in Chiran. So I think that's kind of like how it could happen. It just happens town by town by town of people saying like, that's enough. We're tired of the criminals running this, this shit show. We'll take care of ourselves. And like, we won't involve ourselves with whatever, nonsense they're getting up to over there.
Yeah, because anytime I ponder anarchy or voluntarism, that is one of the main things where I'm like, I don't know how this would work, because you kind of have to have some kind of moral agreement, like societally, that the whole non-aggression principle and all that kind of stuff. But it's not like everybody has to agree to that. Like, I think that would be my main concern of like how anarchy would work is like, well, I would think eventually, people are going to gang up and then try to take over. But it sounds like, Chevron did kind of okay, especially against the cartel.
Yeah. And I don't know, I forget who it was, but they were expressing the idea of like, we already live in anarchy every day. Like if you consider anarchy as, voluntary interaction between people, then pretty much everything that we do in our day-to-day lives is anarchy. Like nobody's saying like, you need to, go and buy your muffin and, get your breakfast juice from here. Like you're like, I'm hungry. I want a muffin and a juice, so I'm going to go to the shop. I'm going to give them money, and they're going to give that to me. And it's like it's not mandated. Like nobody's saying like that. You got to check that off your list of shit to do. So I thought that was a very interesting way of, kind of changing the way that we perceive the word anarchy.
Right. Absolutely. Although I don't know at this point. Well, I mean, like the question Batman asked. And it may be because, we kind of run in different circles. So his thought is, thinking of Antifa and things like that. And that's just so far from my own mind because that is the controlled perception of what our controllers want us to think as far as anarchy goes is like pieces of shit. Right. But I guess I've been following enough people that are anarchists and really respect their work where I've changed that perception in my own mind. But as far as like the normie goes, I don't know. I think it needs the rebranding for like towards agora or voluntarism.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I don't really call it anarchy, even though I think, gosh, how many times did we say the freaking word, right? And you had mentioned this wasn't in your bio, but you had mentioned real quick that before you went down to Mexico, you were doing cons and everything. How was that experience?
That was a, I guess, kind of an interesting experience because, at the time I had been a graphic designer for a long time and I just wanted to go into illustration. And I like doing like dark art, fantasy art, comic style stuff, street art. And so I'm like, okay, cool. This is where I can go and do that. And so it's basically a lot of learning like how to go and run a con show, right? You got to get your folding table and all the materials, and then got to print everything up first and put everything in baggies and get stickers and set up your. So like that whole aspect was good in terms of like setting up, the stall and all that. But then there were parts that were very kind of disappointing, and I don't know why I expected it to be any different. But like I remember one con, everybody just wanted pictures of Deadpool because, like, the big Marvel movie had come out. And I'm just like, yeah, but like, what about all this beautiful art that I've made? It's all weird and original and dark and like, it's cool. It's made by hand. It's fucking graphite and ink and watercolor.
Mhm.
It's like, it's one of a kind. And like, whoa, I want Deadpool. Damn it.
That's so funny because that's something that I have been toying with over the last couple of years, because we do need to get, like, Flip City needs to get out in physical space. But the more and more I talk to people, and I love that I'm doing this show because I'm talking to so many people that have done cons and all this, I'm getting a reality check every time. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do cons anymore, but I think we might do good at like conspiracy conventions and stuff.
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know
Well, and this has been kind of why I like this whole scene and why I really like Flip City is because it really does feel like we're building a counterculture, like, a subculture, something like, the psychedelic movement. I love those like the zines from back in the day from like, Robert Crumb and, you know, uh, what's his name? Griffin. He did a lot of like surf art. He did stuff for like the Grateful Dead. And it was just such a cool scene. Like I love all those like little bits of like,
well,
unreadable
and
Hendrix posters.
yeah,
And
the
it's like we could build
underground
that.
comic scene, all that
Yeah.
stuff, there were just so many scenes in the artistic world, and I feel like we're like on the cutting edge of like that renaissance. Other people are like,
Yeah.
meh, they have a bad attitude about it, but I think it's happening.
No, I absolutely like. I love this idea. Like, there's going to be a really like historians will look back at this time period and be like, "Wow, there's an explosion of like really fucking cool underground art," and it's just going to be in that's yeah. I want that to happen. So
If we win.
there always will be there will always be subculture and counterculture stuff. I think you can't get rid of that. It's always going to exist as long as there's like a totalitarian, bullshit state.
Are we going to be able to, do you think we're going to be able to get out from under the thumb? You seem like a positive person.
I want to be a positive person.
Me too.
I want to be optimistic, but there are times when I'm just like, God damn, like people are just too accepting of being comfortable and enslaved.
People are lazy. That's what's happened. They become lazy.
I think that's it, one part of it. Definitely. I think also, like me personally, because pretty much my entire family is normies, or even worse, like insane liberals, that and then the normies have to get along with their insane liberal partner. And I get it, but like I have much respect for like my brother and some of the opinions that he holds, and I'll debate him on it, and I can see he's feeling like an idiot, right? We don't talk much because we love each other, right? We're family, but he doesn't talk to me much because he knows if he starts spouting his bullshit, I'm gonna say, dude, like you're so smart. Like, why do you feel this way because of this and that, blah blah blah. And then he's like, and then starts attacking me a little bit. But I'm also his little sister, so he can't be too hard on me. But Oh yeah. The way I have sympathy for the people that are asleep is like so many people are on the verge of waking up, but they know if they pull that in one teeny thread, and the threads are everywhere, that
Yeah.
their entire world is going to fall apart. So I understand why they're not tugging the thread. Who wants their world to fall apart?
Yeah. Well, and that's why I like the idea of like creating, bits of visual culture that will hook people in and be like, what's this weird little thing over here in this corner? And then, find like this amazing, you know, collection of like creative ideas and art and that kind of stuff. So
You know what? I actually think that's a perfect segue into our mansplain segment. I love that I always have men come on. I don't know. Are women not doing creative things? I have no idea. I should have more women on, but I'd probably still have them mansplain to me. So we are now in the mansplain segment. And I would love to know. Sorry, my daughter visited for a couple minutes today. So I had to say bye to her. I would love to know how you believe art might be able to shift the culture and how important it is that there are people that are not lunatics, creating culture and art.
Ooh, I'm gonna go esoteric with this because I like that personally. So uh in a strange way, letters, symbols, paintings, sigils, they all kind of affect us consciously and subconsciously. And the amount of money that is being spent to like create this narrative that everybody has to believe, like, oh, we got a new scary flu thing, let's kill all our chickens, and
Oh, yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So it's
Everything's made to piss us off, isn't it?
however, that being said, that means organic, true organic art and ideas that are true, right? Whether they're unpopular or not to be spoken of by the people in charge, that shit is way more powerful than the billions of dollars they are spending to warp and manipulate our worldview. And so I think that's why art's important. That's why images and sigils and symbols and ideas are very important, and we need to spread that. Like, you know, oh, what's that quote? Something about asymmetrical warfare is hard to defend against. So, yeah, it needs to be organic. It needs to be decentralized, distributed. And that's the kind of response that will actually change stuff.
Yeah. However, teaming up with small groups of people, just like you would in a volunteerist community, is important. And I think that's what we're doing pretty well with Flip City.
Yeah.
Because we brought you in, brother, which, by the way, I'm sure I knew when we first met, but do you remember where you heard of Flip City?
I want to say it was something from James Corbett. I think it was on the Corbett Report. They were doing the Solutions Watch, I think.
Okay, I think you're probably right. And that's also, he was probably one of the easiest people, and my top favorite people that have, some sort of influence online love him so much. And he was so easy to get a hold of and say, yes, I love what you're doing. Let's talk. I'm like, wow, that was easy. Because it's not usually easy.
Well, and that's important because it shows that, like, it's not just a clout thing. It's just like he's one of these people that's genuinely interested in the solutions thing, and that involves individuals, stepping up and being responsible and starting their own ideas, and literally building that world of symbols and sigils and all magic and stuff like that. Like that's on the individuals to build. So
Right. And yeah, I just have so much respect for him. Are you still listening much to Corbett?
oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Fantastic. And I'm sure you saw that we interviewed him and published it in the magazine.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
And that was the other thing too. Have you ever read a Flip City? An entire magazine?
Yeah, when you did the free one, for sure. I got that.
Okay.
Download that to share. So
You know,
I went through and read that.
I am going to, and this kind of comes with once we publish your stuff, you get on our digital mailing list. So you'll start getting every future issue, whether you're in it or not. Hooray.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I like the fact that it's a digital version. Like, as much as I love having, physical copy of stuff, it's, I've been living out my backpack for like a month, 4 months.
Yeah.
So I keep collecting things. I'm like, oh my God, it's another book. I can't put that in there. My bag already weighs 50 pounds.
Well, you know what? I'm happy to hear that you would appreciate the digital because everybody else wants the physical, but they have a solid space. I don't think that we're working with too many people that are, nomads and traveling around. All right, cool. Well, I think it is time for our next segment. We are going to head on over to Conspiracy Corner because
Ooh,
I have questions.
oh good. I got answers. That will probably lead to more questions.
I wanna live with a conspiracy girl. I could be prepping the rest of my life with a conspiracy girl.
Those weren't aliens.
I muted. Hello and welcome to Conspiracy Corner. And I'm so happy that I finally have somebody that wants to have fun with me and put on his own tinfoil hat.
You like it? I went with like a Spartan look. Completes my helmet.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even notice, but yes, that is true. The other one that I have, I tried to make look like some sort of hat, but it looks like a chef hat, and that's not what I meant it to be, but whatever. So I've been so excited to do Conspiracy Corner with you because you are an anarchist or voluntarist, and in my own mind, kind of extrapolating from there, I'd be shocked if you weren't a conspiracy theorist. So let's spill the tea for a few minutes. I really just kind of want you to talk on conspiracy. I don't have any questions.
Oh, okay. Ooh. Well, I mean, there's like actual conspiracies, and then like some that are just fun to kind of
Speculate.
enjoy and entertain. So,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, I think for me, I mean, there's the granddaddy. Well, I mean, for my generation, the granddaddy, the whole 9/11 thing. That's kind of what kicked it off for me, and kind of the reaction to that, and being able to look back and see how and remember that it's like, oh, all that messaging affected me and like my decisions and opinions in a certain way. And now that I see the same thing happening again, but with a different emergency or crisis, it was just kind of like that made it clear to me. Like that's the definition of a conspiracy, but that's definitely what led me down that rabbit hole. But I don't know. I like Bigfoot. I'm a fan of that one.
Oh,
That's a good one.
really? I don't
Yeah,
think
I like-
we've talked about Bigfoot. So if you want to talk about Bigfoot, have at it.
Well, I just like the idea of Bigfoot being an interdimensional creature and not really like in this world, but just slightly like attached to it. He accidentally slips into this reality occasionally.
That's actually one I had not heard from anybody else except for Scott. Scott heard it first and was like, "Hey, have you heard this one about Bigfoot being an interdimensional being that just like or come?"
Really?
I think
I
you
say
did.
that?
I think you did, honey. You don't have your hat on.
I'm
You
working
can't
on
get in here until you have your hat
Okay.
on.
Sorry.
Scott, everybody. Scott's coming in to join Conspiracy
camera?
Corner because
I'm still over in
but
the-
I wouldn't mind talking about 9/11. Was that your wake up call? Get in here.
Oh, you got scooch.
Oh, look at that fancy hat. That's amazing.
Yeah. Do you love it? I
Yeah.
don't know which way.
Very
it's up on.
stylish.
Okay. Well, this is like a painter's cap, actually.
Well-
You model a little lid on it. That's nice.
You're not used to coming to Conspiracy Corner, so I forgive you.
Hey. Oh, I like that mask. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
had
that
fun.
is-
Cool.
It was
Nice.
a paper craft thing. So
Yeah.
spent
Yeah, I have a store-bought one because I didn't have time to paper craft like you nomads. Just
it's all about priorities.
yeah, Yeah, my priority is selling magazines, which
Mine was-
turns out it's not easy.
So conspiracies.
Mhm.
You're on. You're on
Yeah,
about
so Bigfoot.
conspiracy.
Let's talk about Bigfoot. Well,
I
I don't know
like-
unless you were done.
Well, no, I just like that interdimensional aspect. I've always liked like Lovecraft and like the old what do they call that? Cosmic horror. And like there are a couple really good stories about alien stuff happening in the woods. Like one's called The Willows by I think is it Eldrin Blackwood? Anyways, yeah, it's a great story about some guys going camping and like they meet something alien and it's something about the trees and it's a fantastic short story. But yeah, I like that idea of like Bigfoot being something a lot weirder than just a lost monkey.
Right.
Well, the last thing I saw was I don't know what show this guy was on. Maybe it was Coast to Coast. He said he met a Bigfoot, and then the Bigfoot took him to a council of Bigfoots. And at the council of Bigfoots, there was a newborn Bigfoot, and the newborn baby Bigfoot smiled, and it smiled at him.
Like in
And
the
there
Simpsons.
was much celebration among the Bigfoots. I swear to God, that's what this guy said.
Yeah.
I'm in a Bigfoot party. So
Yeah.
take that, with a grain of salt.
They're probably just laughing and they're just having fun with us humans. They're just like, look at these three-dimensional guys. They're so three-dimensional.
It's so easy to fool and scare.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. So yeah, you had mentioned 9/11, by the way, which I saw, gosh, because it's been so long since 9/11 and it's always been in the forefront of your mind or in the back of your mind even. You feel like you've seen pretty much all the smoking guns and then something else pops up. Like I saw a brand new thing of building 7 being imploded. And I'm like, yeah, like the windows popping out and you see all the squibs. I'm like, I never, the only reason I know the term squibs is because of 9/11.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, it was kind of coming to a realization that, like, the United States government is not above doing some underhanded shit, and so it's just kind of like, oh, that's their normal behavior. Like anything they say is suspect, in my opinion. That's kind of where that whole thing has led me in terms of like conspiracy. So it's just like nothing really surprises me, and I never believe the official story at this point. Or it's just like, oh no, this terrible thing happened like this. It's just like, probably not. Oh no, these,
It's been really fun for me in particular, just meeting people across the internet that woke up during COVID and start talking to them about 9/11 and them just being very resistant to it. But they know, COVID's a whole scam and they did all this. And, I'm like, why is it hard to open your mind about 9/11 now?
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry to bring it down, but that's why we do after Conspiracy Corner, we go into Flip City Branded so we can have a few laughs.
Okay.
So yeah, we can take our tinfoil hats off now
Okay.
and head over to Branded, our Branded segment. And tonight I chose something that Ulysses did himself and is going to be published in volume 21. You can pick that up at flipcitymag.com. And I was curious what your voice was while you created Radical Radish here. What your voice was. So we're gonna make you read him in the voice that was going through your head while you were doing this.
Oh, that's a good idea. Oh,
You had a voice. You had a voice.
We have
I don't know what it's going to be.
No.
Yuli, he has a voice, and it went through your head.
Well, there's a lot of voices going through my head. I just got to remember which one is his.
You gotta pick one, man.
Are you able
live from the underground? So you're living with an abusive government. What's a radish gonna do about it? I suppose forming a PMC is one option. The other option could be as easy as planting a garden. Growing your own food is like printing your own money. Don't be a couch potato. Take control of your future.
Yeah.
Go radical radish. Okay, tell us a little more because I know Scott likes your idea of what you have planned kind of within this whole series, but I would love to hear more and he wants to know more
Yeah.
as well. So what is going on with Radical Radish?
Okay, so I think for me, I wanted to do something that was, more solutions oriented, right? Rather than just kind of complaining about stuff. And so I'm like, okay, what would be a cool way of like presenting these ideas? And it's just like, well, what about like an extremist garden vegetable? Because, gardening will be labeled as an extremist activity, I'm pretty sure at some point in the future.
It
And
might have already been.
yeah, like let's get out ahead of it and be like, yeah, I'm an extremist. I'm planting my tomatoes. I've got my Malabar spinach growing on my fence. I'm such a threat to the system.
Right?
And like for me, that's just ludicrous. And people look at that and it's just like, that's not that. No, I want to know more about that. So the idea is Radical Radish wants to share, you know, simple things to do around your place. So like for me, like I spent some time in the suburbs with like just the backyard. So it's like, what can I do in just the backyard? Well, we've got raised beds, we've got like a vermicomposter that I'm putting together. And these are all things that's just like, even a little thing like that is, a positive thing. And if more people kind of get into those ideas, I think that would be good. So yeah, I want Radical Radish to be like an extremist gardener showing you how to like pick the right plant for your hardiness so you've got an abundant thing to full of nutrients and is organic and is from your backyard and that you used rainwater on, stuff like that.
Yeah, and you've got a whole cast of characters
There's
and all
a
that
whole
ready to
basket
go.
of vegetables.
A whole
right?
basket of vegetables, yeah, because it's just fun drawing like just irritated vegetables. So I've got, what was it, like there's sabotage squash or something like that, and garlic the exorcist. I like that idea, the garlic being the exorcist.
Well, I actually appreciate that we've pulled the trigger and published Radical Radish because we're looking forward to more of it. And you kind of give us a legitimacy as far as trying to make a real difference.
We're trying to do something.
Yeah, just in some small way. Yeah, absolutely. And then it'll be a big thing. And then everybody will be like, wow, that was so fucking cool. You got gardening tips from like an extremist garden vegetable.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but not all of the vegetables, the potential vegetable pool you're drawing from, they're not all as pragmatic as Radical Radish, are they?
They could be, but yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
okay. We're
it's
working
been
on
a
it.
learning experience. So it's, I'm in hardiness zone 9B. And so it frosts once or twice a year, usually. So it's like, it
Okay.
can't do anything subtropical or tropical where I'm at. But, Malabar spinach will do fantastic. Okra will do fantastic. Moringa will do great. And so these are all things that are like, that would be fun to share, instead of like, oh, these anarchists, they're sharing canning, pickling recipes. Oh my God. I thought they were sharing like, how to make their own. No, I like pickles. Like I got cucumbers. I got to do something with them,
I like pickles.
Oh, look, Classical Chick puts forward the name Rudy Bega.
Oh,
Rudy Bega?
that might be a
Okay.
good one.
Yeah,
That might be a good one.
I don't know if
wanted
I've
to do-
ever had a rutabaga.
I bet they're
Yeah.
delicious. They've got to be
Probably.
amazing.
Okay, so you haven't either.
No, I've not had rutabaga, but I'd be happy to try it. It sounds like something that would be good roasted.
It does sound that way.
Yeah, I don't know what
Like
you do. With it.
parsnips.
It's like a turnip or something.
That's what I was thinking. It might be
I
that
don't
kind
know.
of texture.
I don't
And
know.
do you know? Is it like a root vegetable?
I want to say it's a root vegetable. I want to
Okay.
say
I've had a turnip one time and it was pretty good.
yes.
But you don't eat them in California. You don't eat turnips. Sorry, you just don't.
Nope.
Sounds like something you'd be happy to have once everything goes to shit and explodes.
Yeah, oh,
And you're
yeah.
like, oh my God, a
Turnip
root.
seeds.
Yeah. Like, oh, delicious carbs. It's so naughty. He he.
It's just like a potato.
Yeah.
It's like what?
It's like a potato.
Mm.
That's basically.
Yeah.
different skin shape.
Yeah.
Anyhow, yeah. So I'm looking forward to Radical Radish and his
And more,
his
and
friends,
potato. I know there's
his
a potato
friends,
in
and
there.
whatever
Yeah.
vegetables might be antagonists in this scenario.
Yeah.
Or garden
Yes.
garden pests.
Well, that's
got-
the thing
I
too.
don't know.
I wasn't sure, Yuli, if you're going to make this story where there are any antagonists. Everything seemed pretty positive so far.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm sure there'll be like President Potato Head like in the distance, being like, I don't know.
Okay.
So like I always
Potato.
just, you know, President Potatoes, like I think that's got to be a character because we've got one already.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
yeah, maybe some pests. That would be a good one. It could be like IRS agents or something.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I like the pests being the kind of
Yeah.
being more of the antagonist.
Yeah. So there's some sneak previews. So you'll see that in Flip City, hopefully.
Yeah, volume, not hopefully,
Well,
it's going to come out.
We gotta do one a
Yeah,
one a
volume,
quarter.
but
Low-
head over to fundmycomic.com/flipcity21 and back that campaign so we can start making a little bit of funding towards the print job. It would be very
Mhm.
helpful.
Yeah, it would be very cool to see that. I'm looking forward to seeing more Flip City and it growing into like, you know, heavy metal of its era.
That would be acceptable.
It's the plan. It's a plan.
Yeah.
It's going to happen, you know, and that's the thing too. You can't expect to like take the world by storm overnight. So we're doing the slow burn thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really happy that I got to help out and participate in building the counterculture stuff. So I'm excited.
Yeah,
Very
and you're
likes me.
going to keep helping because now we have you in our traps.
Aha! Excellent.
Have you talked about Yuli's Smurfs kick?
No,
No
actually,
Smurfs
I did mean to ask about your Smurfs kick. During and cause if you can just pull up the image that has Smurfs while we're talking about this. So anybody that was here at the beginning of the show would see that during the bio slideshow, I showed that Yuli is like, drawing Smurfs, and I don't know why. Okay, here they are.
Yeah, like I don't something about like, you know, these like little weird magical elf things, and the illustrator's fantastic. Peyo, this is a Belgian guy, and like came from that whole school of like comics and illustration. So I love, you know, just looking at his work on one level. But then, you know, thinking of characters that could be subversive, it's just like, oh yeah, like little green men, you know, going around and like, you know, doing guerrilla gardening stuff and like planting like fruit trees and, you know, the HOA front lawn areas and things like that. So I can see that being like a useful, like, you know, set of characters to kind of borrow and do some like funny satirical stuff with, where it's just like, oh, these aren't, you know, la 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 la. They're like, we've got our gardening tools and we're gonna go over here and plant a plot of like hemp and, you know, stay off our land. You know,
Actually, I cannot wait to see a Smurf. Wait, have you made one yet? Like with a shotgun?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That one
yes,
just
I
had
have.
a torch.
Yeah. And so, you know, I think it's a fun way of, you know, playing with like some of these pop culture images and then just having a very, you know, strange twist on it, or hopefully the same twist on it. So it's like, get people thinking about agorism and voluntarism. But that's kind of what I like to do with those images. So
Yep. Well, I thank you personally for just making our magazine more extreme by giving gardening tips.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's like, you know, it's a common, you know, juxtaposition of like, you know, this, you know, crazy, like spooky, scary thing. And it's just like, I'm going to teach you how to plant your potatoes right. You know, fun things like that.
No, it's perfect for Flip City. And we're so happy that, like, even though we've known each other, I think probably for a couple of years, not that we've been communicating much, but that you finally came to us and we're like, hey, please, can you do something with this? And we said, yes, thank you.
Yeah, sure. It's a radish.
I think
Maybe
I'm going to end the stream here if that is okay. But Yuli, can you hang out for a bit backstage and chit chat with Scott and I?
Sure thing.
Okay, fantastic. As far as where people can find you, where do you want them to go?
I've got Telegram and I've got my website. So if you go to uly.xyz, uli.xyz, that's where you can find, some of my work. And then on Telegram, and I forget the name. I'll give you the link for that. But yeah,
Are you
Telegram.
dropping it in the Zoom? Because I could put it in the chat.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let me grab it really quick.
Oh, wait, except for I always forget where to find the chat in Zoom. I'm the worst. Let's see. Chat. There we go. All right, cool. I have that open when you are ready. So yeah, and we are in your Telegram chat. I do enjoy being in there. I've told Scott that he needs to remember to go check in there because we loved your Malay also, by the way, which was on it's on the thumbnail. And we actually our lead parody in volume 21, Malay is a secondary character in it.
Oh yeah, it's House of the Elon. House of the Elon Musk, and let's see. His what happens? His employees are kidnapped in Brazil by their dictatorship. So Malay comes to help Elon. They go on their dragons and I got to liberate their employees. So
good grief,
that's fun.
It's a pretty good
Elon,
one.
and he goes.
It's almost believable that that's actually going to happen, or some nonsense like that will happen.
Yeah.
What a crazy world we live in.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I'm just dropping your Telegram link into all the chats so anybody that has Telegram can go join you over there. One thing I have, I was wondering about your Telegram because it's pretty much one of those ones where you're just kind of populating it with your art and stuff, but you don't have a chat. Don't you like people? Don't you like to talk to people?
I should do that more, but it's yeah, I should do that more, honestly. But for ease of use, is just kind of like I'm just going to post up my stuff there for now. But okay, yeah, I'll consider starting up the chat channel. I want to get
I'm only asking because I've wanted to talk to you in that chat, and I'm like, oh, I can't. Okay, I'll give you the clap. Good job. The clap emoji. All right, cool. Well, all right, so you've got Ulysses XY or Uli XYZ as your website. That is in the description of the video. And then in the chats, I put your Telegram.
No, the website's just uly.xyz.
I think that's what I said again. Oh. I don't know. It's uly.xyz, but it is also in, wait, right? uly.xyz.
That's it.
Okay. I thought you said, is it?
Oh,
and I know you had an edible before, so don't you start confusing me as well. Oh yeah. I'm really excited about next week's show. Scott will be back with me for the entire show. We are having a party stream. We're doing our very first FAFO stream where we are inviting people back that have come on Creative Chaos to do Flip City reads for the entire show. We're going to be doing our Jerks of Joke Island Meet Ancient Avians that we did a few weeks ago with Ben Sullivan, the lead parody artist, and lots of other really, really cool stuff. Please, 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 people that like Creative Chaos, come back next week. I think we're probably going to have a house of 10 to 15 different people coming in and doing voices, and it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Aren't you excited?
Yeah, I think it's cool.
You never seem that excited.
Well, don't tell them that.
Okay, but I know you are. I know you are, because I know you behind the scenes. And then
into the performance.
The reason we're doing it and what we're going to do pretty much as like a format type thing on Creative Chaos is every 6 months we're going to do one of these party streams and invite people back, the coolest people that have come on Creative Chaos, to come back and do live reads 2 times a year. So this is our very first FAFO stream. And I just wanted to thank producer, Cosmic Grandpa, if you want to get in here, cause I literally could.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
You know I love you so much, and you know I literally could not do this stream without the help of my genius producer. You are an absolute treasure, and I'm sorry sometimes that we have rude guests on that call you a boomer. So I'm going to be bringing them back and putting them to work doing silly character voices and making them embarrass themselves.
All right. Well, I wear the boomer moniker proudly, so.
Okay, good.
All right.
Yeah, I just remember that time that one rude guest called you a boomer, and then you're like, well, this is just your boomer producer back here. But we have fun. So, and I know you appreciate producing the show and not really having to be on camera much, but I just have to recognize you every once in a while.
I enjoy it very much.
Okay, cool. And then as time goes on, I'm going to be throwing more challenges at Cosmic Grandpa to just bring the production level up just a little bit more to kind of match how awesome Flip City Magazine in print is.
Okay.
Okay,
Good.
sound good?
Yeah.
All right,
I
cool.
like it.
All right, you guys, thank you for everybody that showed up to Creative Chaos tonight. Go check out Ulysses' stuff over on his website. Follow his Telegram. Check out our funding campaign on Fund My Comic. That link is, I think, in the description of the video, but that is fundmycomic.com/flipcity21. At least get us to 2 backers. That'd be awesome. And we will be back next week, same time, 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. EST for our very first FAFO stream. Yay! Bye.